One of the joys of celebrating a bicentenary is that it enables you to look back and to look forward. So as well as celebrating the 200 years of people who have worshipped here, the people who visited the church, prayed their prayers and sung their hymns, we want to build for the future of the building. The church that you see now is pretty much the church as it was built 200 years ago. Very little has changed in terms of the permanent structure of the building. In fact, the only time it closed was for 2 years for restoration work after the war. There was some bomb damage on the roof, and actually dry rot and the frighteningly entitled long-horned beetle had also caused considerable damage. So the main body of the church was deemed structurally unsound, and a temporary place of worship was set up on Euston Square across the road, which is where people worshipped for those 2 years between 1951 and 1953. But this room where we are, the North Vestry, remained open for baptisms, weddings and indeed funerals. So in a sense, the life of the church has never ceased for the entire 200 years. Now that work after the war, apart from the bombing, had partly arisen because of the neglect of maintenance work that had been done over the preceding decades. And as church buildings get older and older, that's always a live issue for those of us today who try to care for them. So here at St Pancras we rely partly on the generosity of our congregation, but also on the commercial income from letting the church and its hall out for a variety of activities. After 200 years, there's no doubt that the building is beginning to show its age. Its position on the Euston Road, one of the busiest roads in Western Europe, means that it's heavily discoloured from the local pollution. But we're reluctant to get it cleaned until we've undertaken a lot of the restoration work that's needed. So some of this was done about 6 or 7 years ago at the west end of the church. Some important repair work was done to the portico, the stonework, some of the terracotta decorations, which were beautifully remodelled and in fact won an award from the Society for the Preservation of Ancient Buildings, the John Betjeman Award, which we're very honoured to have obtained. Since the building of the British Museum, about a mile to the south of the church, the Greek revival had begun in much of London's architecture, building on the classical principles so often seen in Georgian times. So the plan to build St Pancras Church was an inspired recreation of particular monuments on the Acropolis in Athens. The Caryatids, our most precious feature. They stand proudly over the entrance to the crypt doors on the north and south sides of the building. We think they were originally pagan goddesses guarding the entrance to the underworld, but reflecting the fact that the crypt was to be used for Christian burials. They hold in their hands ewers for the washing of the dead bodies and torches to light people's paths in the world underneath. Made of codestone and terracotta, the Caryatids are extremely vulnerable. Pollution and the weathering of 200 years have left them in a very poor condition. Over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of survey work done to try and work out where the structural faults are and how they might best be mended. There is a need to continue some of that survey work. And the experts now feel that the best way to do that would probably be, if we can get permission, to take one of the Caryatids away and then examine it under laboratory conditions and experiment with ways of fixing some of the cracks and remodelling them into the beautiful statues that they are. So what we want to do is to make that the focus of our bicentenary appeal, which will begin this year. and to make sure that more visitors can come and enjoy the building. We want to link those that conservation work on the Caryatids with access work to the church, making it more accessible for disabled people to enter from every side of the building, getting some landscaping work done in the north garden, and hopefully building underneath the car park, if we can, some meeting rooms and toilets, which will greatly enhance the visitors' experience of the church. We estimate that the cost of this project will be something in the region of £3 million. So as has been very helpful in the past, we will be approaching the National Lottery Heritage Fund and other major funding bodies for assistance with that. But obviously, any money that we can raise from our members here and from visitors to the church will be a very important part of that project.